Hi everybody, it's David Herrera here from the Tips team, and I'm here with another after-school tech tip. Today we're talking about Google Gemini Canvas. We're going to do a deep dive into this new feature. Now, before we jump right into that, just a reminder that we post videos weekly about a variety of different edtech topics. So subscribe to our channel if you don't want to miss any of those videos, but you can also reach out to your tips consultant at tips@epsb.ca for some professional development at your school. Now, let's take a look at Gemini. Now, Canvas is a feature that's been out for a couple of months now. And so today we're going to do a deep dive into the different text editing features that are available in Gemini. So first things first, I have a prompt that I've already created for this demonstration. This prompt is talking about the French Revolution. I'm a high school teacher, so of course, high school topic. But again, this works with any kind of topic you want to do. So my prompt is to ask Gemini to create a paragraph about the French Revolution's causes at 3 different reading levels, at grade 3, grade 8, and grade 11, and then separate them and create a title for each of those paragraphs. Now, normally, I would just click on Submit here, but I actually want to use Canvas. So I'm going to click on Tools and click on Canvas, and then I'm going to go ahead and submit. Now, we are going to see here that we're going to get a whole section on the side here that looks a lot like a Google Doc. So I have all of the text that Gemini created. I have 3 different reading levels here for the causes of the French Revolution. And there's lots of different text editing features here. We'll jump into that in a second. But let's take a look at the output that the Gemini created. So we have some very simple, king and queen lived in a very fancy big castle called Versailles. Then grade 8 level, we're getting a little bit more complex, combination of social and economic problems. Most importantly, the food was very expensive and bad harvests and the Enlightenment. And then grade 11, we're getting into more complex language like culmination of deep-seated social, political, and economic tensions. So big rule of thumb here for Gemini and for any AI tool, always double check the output. Remember, this is what Gemini thinks is grade 3, grade 8, and grade 11 level. So always just double check to make sure that the vocab is okay for what you're trying to use with your students. Now, first off, within Canvas, I can actually go ahead and type or change the text if I'm not happy with it or I want to edit some pieces. So we can say, long ago in France, there was a king and queen. Maybe I want to change this to, there were royals. I don't know. And so I can go ahead and change that in there. Maybe I want to add more stuff and say, the French Revolution, ... and so on. So that's one of the cool features of Canvas. I can edit the output that Gemini created right away. Now, you'll also see that there's some options up here for changing up the text. We call this a rich text editor, so I can bold stuff, or I can italicize it. I can also create bulleted lists, or I can do a numbered list. So let's say I want to do a bulleted list here afterwards. I can just click on that, and it works very much the same way that it would in a Google Doc. Click it again, get rid of that. I can also keep interacting with this output here, and I can say maybe add a little bit more information and say, please add bullet points under each paragraph summarizing the causes at each grade level. So Gemini is going to take a look at my prompt, and it's going to go ahead and add those things I've added that I've asked for it to do. So we can see it didn't change any of the previous text. It left it there, but it added that piece that I asked for. And again, it did so at the appropriate reading level from what it considered to be grade 8, grade 11, grade 3. One of the things I can do in here, for example, let's say I don't want this to be a bulleted list. I want this to be a numbered list. I can just go ahead and edit that stuff up here. Maybe a numbered list makes a little bit more sense for me, and so that's what I'm going to do here. I can also change the heading or the text style over here. So we're using heading 3. Maybe I want this to be a little bit bigger. I'm going to use heading 1, or go back to heading 3, change into normal text to whatever I want that to look like. One of the cool features as well is we can also go in between different versions of what I've created. So I can go back to some of the changes that I've made here. It's very much the Control Z or undo feature in Google Docs. So I can keep going back until I get to whatever I want, or keep going forward until I get to the most recent version of everything in here. Now, a little bit more that I can do with the text here. You might see that there's some tools on the side here. And so with these tools, what I can do is I can click on change length and I can make it shorter, very short, or long, or very long. So let's make the text a little bit longer. I'm just going to click and drag, leave it in long, and then it's going to take all of the text in here and kind of expand on it. Okay, so we can see all of the paragraphs got a little bit longer, and it actually highlights what it's changed, which is pretty neat in terms of now I can go back and check to see what has changed. If I don't like it, again, I can just click on previous version, and then I go back, or go forward to the most recent version. The other one here is change tone. So I can go ahead and make it more formal or more casual, depending on what I want. On top of that, let's go back to the shorter version really quick. Let's say I don't like how formal or how academic the language is sounding here. I want to make this a little bit more engaging for my students. So I can highlight the text here and you'll see Ask Gemini pops up here. So I can think, okay, please reword this to be more engaging and fun, but keep the reading level. So it's going to cut down on the amount of time that I have to go through the text and, oh, let me make this a little bit more interesting or engaging for my students. And so we can see the text has kind of changed. The French Revolution was a perfect storm of problems waiting to happen. Yet a society that was totally stuck in the past, rigid class system, fancy pants clergy nobles got to party. So again, you're still using some complex words like expensive wars, bourgeoisie, enlightenment. Maybe it did bring the reading level down a little bit, but again, you can refine it, just highlight and say, increase the reading level if you think that it made it a little bit too low. But again, that's kind of the beauty of Canvas. You can just keep refining specific portions of the text without having to re-prompt everything. And it kind of seems like it went back to the complex language that we had from before. So it's always a bit of a trial and error here. Last thing that you can do with Canvas here, so you see the share button, share and export. I can click on this and then directly export to a Google Doc. So maybe I want to turn this into a reading assignment for my students. And so it's going to create a new document directly inside of my Google Drive, and it has all of the text that we created inside of Canvas. And so it's a really easy way to create some content. Again, double check, triple check everything that is created. But that is pretty much it for Canvas. Make sure you play around with it, try a bunch of different things. Next week, we're going to be making a video about some other features that you can do in Canvas, like coding. You might be wondering what that big create button is. We will get into that next week. So anyways, that is it from me today. Hope you guys have a wonderful week. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel, check out our weekly videos, or reach out to us at tips.epsb.ca. All right, have a good one. Bye-bye.